Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Ooh, love seeing all these lovely faces. Happy Wednesday for Prowess's Live. This is probably one of my favorite times of the week. Y'all are just, I'm loving all the interaction and all the back and forth. And today you're in for a treat. Leah and I have been talking about doing this exact, um, this exact session for 2 quarters now, Leah. And we are finally at the point where it's like, okay, we have the brain space and the OBMs that we know out there are needing it. So hello, hello, hello. Want to get started as always for questions and just to keep things as streamlined as possible. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. And to kick things off, it is cold in Austin, which is rare aside from last week. Tell me about the best tropical place you've ever been and put it in the chat. It's been a while since I've been on vacation and I need some inspiration. So let's hear them, ladies. Where are some? Ooh, Maui. Okay, Julie. Love it. Where else? Where else? Where else? Honduras. Oh, amazing. Linda, ma'am, I know you have some good ones. I'm trying to think of what mine would be. Mine would be probably, so on our honeymoon, we went to Sardinia, and so that would probably be one of mine. Oh, yes. Not sure that qualifies as tropical. Costa Rica, I've always wanted to go there. It's on my list. Okay, enough of that. Let's get to the no code is a no-brainer. Yes, Linda, I would love to come visit you in St. Pete's. Are you kidding me? No, to get started, let me find my document that has, sorry, y'all. Computer's going slow. So as always, who am I? And what are we doing here? I'm Ashley Connell, CEO and founder of Prowess Project. What does Prowess Project do? We are on a mission to help women have flexible jobs that they love and have a lot of success in. The way we do that is we vet and certify Prowess OBMs to be online business managers, and then we take all the data that we're learning from them through our platform, and our tech matches them up with clients who will be a great fit for them. So what question we get a ton, and we're going to dive into today, is what the heck is no code and why is this specifically important for OBMs? Like I said at the beginning, Leah and I have been talking about doing this session for quarters now. So without further ado, I want to welcome the lovely Leah Steinkirch. So Leah, tell us about your journey from counseling to sales to operations to graphic design to motherhood to bookkeeping. I mean, all the things to OBM to COO. Tell us.
I think you covered most of them there. But it is so, and what I like to think about this, it's the element of creativity. So like in all those things that you've mentioned, all of my roles, I love the part when I could get creative. So from that area of counseling, there's areas of that where I'm helping people, I'm listening to problems, and then that pulled me into, I was always the one that when I was creating something for a client or a patient, it was to what Excel sheet or what way could I put this down so that everyone would, it was like a tracker, right? Creating a tracker was probably my favorite part of any of that kind of work. Then even in sales, like there, I loved the part that would, PowerPoint was something that we started to integrate into our daily use. And so how do you use that? And then how do you pull in and kind of make that, customize it, right, for really quickly for each type of presentation or what you needed to do. So through all of my journey, yes, starting in counseling, then I went into sales, when I decided to stay home, got into graphic design, loved all of that. And actually, when I was doing that, one of my things was I wanted to customize books for kids to help build self-esteem. So for each one, you could do it differently. And I was a little ahead of the curve, but if I had had Webflow then, it would have been simple. So, and then bringing me to Prowess, and then coming on again, starting a website, hearing other issues that are coming up, and then growing in the role from there of, again, problem solving. So it's, again, I like to think of myself as a creative person, and I feel like that's how I've done it in a professional manner, is taking technology to become creative.
I love that so much, because when you think of a creative person, you think of an artist, you think of a graphic designer, you think of a copywriter, you think of, or at least most people do. And I love that that was the first thing you said off the bat is, I am a creative. I love being creative. And you're really, I mean, you're creating businesses from all this technology. So amazing, amazing, amazing. So as always, y'all, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. But Leah, what is no code?
Besides my favorite topic to talk about all the time, it is just simply the idea of the tools, the technologies that are out there that allows you to build systems without having to do all of the coding behind the scenes, right? So they are platforms where it can be drag and drop, or maybe you're doing a little more of that. But if you think of things like Airtable, which basically has taken something like Excel and created relationships with that data so that you can have a more automated system than just an Excel spreadsheet. There are platforms like Webflow that allow you to have a database that's running behind it. So things like that are allowing you to have automated systems, creating, we'll talk about this probably a little bit more, but the idea of an MVP. So, right, Ashley, when we first started getting started, you were saying, wouldn't it be great if we had something where each one of our customers could see different data, right? So you can go and build that. You can hire someone who can code all that behind the scenes, or there are platforms that you can then use where you're not doing any of the coding, but you can pull them together and create those relationships.
I didn't even think about that, but yes, with the MVP, and for those who aren't aware of that acronym, it is minimal viable product. If you have a client who is like, oh, I want to go build this, and I want to go do this, and I want to add this to my business, you can do all of those things, but it is so, so, so important to not spend a ton of time, because you're testing until you know that that thing is really going to work. So that's the idea of the MVP, and you can help them create that MVP using these no code solutions. So it's a really good way to spin up something that will get you far enough or do the job before your client, the business owner, is investing a ton of money into building any sort of tech or anything customizable. Does that all make sense to everybody? Give me a thumbs up just so making sense. Okay, I got one thumbs up, so I'm going to keep on going. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So you explained what no code is. Why does it really matter?
Why it matters is oftentimes in the role of an OBM, backend operations, you're being asked to do something efficiently, quickly, and with the least amount of financial investment possible, right? It's, hey, can you go see if you can X, Y, and Z? So having a no code option allows you to start testing, gathering data, seeing what will work before you're expending all of this time, all of this capital, bringing in other people to the team, right? So if you think of it as someone who says, hey, I need when this form comes in for it to send out that text message, right? Mm-hmm. You could bring in all of these other people. You could bring in graphic designers and content writers and get all of these balls rolling to get this done. Or you can say, let me simply use, like in this situation, like a Zapier connection to see if when this happens, it triggers this result. That's with a no code option. You're not doing any kind of custom coding there. It's literally clicking boxes. That then you can go back to that person, that decision maker, and say, is this what we want? You could solve all of that in 15 minutes. And right, you haven't involved everyone. Yes, this will work. Okay, now let's pay the consultants if that's what we do to do content writing, or if we need to generate a new design on the website to do this. You can test all of that and save a ton of time and money before investing all this operations in the business.
You said something else that's coming to me that you do a lot, and I love it. And it is I explain like, hey, let's go do this. And you're bought into it. And you're like, yes, I do think this is going to move the needle. So then you give me something and you're like, is this what you're thinking? And
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That is so helpful for me as the visionary to say, yes, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Or no, not quite. I actually meant da 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 da, because sadly, you can't download my brain of what I'm thinking and just create it. So what I'm also hearing you say is it's a really good conversation starter and first draft to get the ball rolling for any project.
Yes, that is one way I love to use it is it's a test case scenario that I can come back that is like, again, it's efficient, it's cost effective in that moment, and then we can grow from there. The other way that I think it's so important, and this is also something that OBMs get asked a lot is, well, I wouldn't even say they get asked. They've been told like, okay, I have all of this data and I need to move it from here. And you're probably going to need to set aside, a whole day to move this data, right? When you start to see those repeatable tasks or these big chunks of responsibility, I think a lot of your brain goes there of like, how could I make this easier? What could I do proactively so I'm not stuck here again, just moving files and waiting for things to upload, right? So that's the other thing of no code will allow you to do is create these proactive solutions for things that are repeatable. You're being asked to do it every day, and it just happens in the background. So that's the part that I actually love about it, because sometimes you can create these solutions and someone thinks you're spending hours of time on something, but you're like, nope, I just created a Zapier connection and that's going automatically.
So oh my God, like this is just pointing out of how superior brain you have. So I'm curious, everyone in the audience, give me a thumbs up if someone were to give you a task and your first thought is, how do I make this easier? I want to see a thumbs up. Yeah. Okay, we got Julie. Anyone, is that the 2, 3, 4, 5? So that is so incredible to me because that would never come to my mind. My mind would never go to, how do I make this easier? My mind would immediately go to, okay, well, they said this is probably going to take a day. I'm going to do it the snail version. And how am I going to rearrange my schedule to get all of this done? And so again, and I say that because I want y'all to really celebrate the way that y'all think and how it is so complementary to people like me that would never, ever, ever cross my mind. So anyway, that was a long-winded way of saying kudos. That's amazing. Leah, can you give us the top 3, like your favorite 3 examples of no code platform, software, whatever, and what they do?
Sure. I'm going to answer this 2 ways. My top 3 that I like to use, and then I can give you some other options of like other solutions that I love that are out there. Right.
Okay.
So
awesome.
Typically, and I will admit to everyone, Ashley probably doesn't even know this, that half the time when she's giving me something like, hey, it happened today in our meeting where she's like, here's a Word doc of a list that we need to prioritize. And I think actually I gave it 4 minutes before I was like, it has to go to Excel. I can't even look at it. And then from there, I was like, if I was on my own, I would be putting this in Airtable so I could automate half of this stuff that's happening right now. So Airtable to me is the one place that I go to as far as my own project management. And yes, like Monday is another great one. HubSpot has some great features. There's lots of different no codes for project management, but Airtable allows me to customize almost everything. So I can have it in there that when I can click a box and then it'll shoot Ashley a Slack message that says, hey, this has been finished, and then put in whatever the content is, the subject matter that she told me about, right? But all I've done is create a task list and a box to check. And so Airtable is the one that I love to use in my own personal workflow that can just save me a ton of time. Another one that I love is Webflow. That one would be creating websites, but what you can do there is when someone says, hey, I would really like something that's gated and has a membership component. A lot of times coaches and consultants want this subscription model or something like that, but they want to customize, like Kajabi could be great, but you can't do a lot of different kinds of things behind the scenes. Webflow allows you to work with a lot of no-code solutions, but also if you need to integrate and do some, low-code JavaScript, it works well with those too. And then it also connects to lots. You can connect Airtable to it, MemberStack, lots of different ones to have one solution for your platform that your customers are coming to. And then Zapier is the one that's sort of the glue that holds all this together. What that will do is that as you have, so the webhook is the idea of the trigger that sits between two softwares. When it doesn't have it automatically in their automations, you can use Zapier to then connect them. So for example, Ashley, when you're like, we're going to send this out in MailChimp, and I want to make sure that all of those people get tracked on this dashboard, that's just a simple, hey, every time this does this, add this number here, right? And I don't actually go and pull up that report in MailChimp and count all of that. It just does it automatically because I've set up that connection between the two to update my data in Airtable.
I did not know that. So those are the dashboards and the fancy reports and stuff that you have.
Airtable itself will allow for a lot of that stuff, but then
wow,
the other stuff is Zapier that I can just pull into there. So
y'all, it's insane. Okay, amazing. We talked about this a little bit, but what do you think is the most important reason why OBMs need no code?
When it comes to working with your clients, we talk about this, that one of the biggest things, those key things that they're looking for, right? It's time, freedom, and money. So here is time. You're going to be able to save them time. So again, and I think a lot of OBMs think like this. I mean, even in a corporate setting, I was sitting at the table, and when people are going through the agenda list, my brain is thinking, okay, how do we cut this meeting in half? Like, how many things did we talk about last time? And we could have just had a report that showed everybody during the week that this was done. We didn't need to go around the table. But no code will allow you to find those solutions for that coach or consultant. And right there in that first meeting, say, I heard that you talked about these 3 areas of friction that are adding time to your day, or you're spending way too much time here. Here's solutions I think we could implement, right? So you're giving back time with this. And yourself, right? You can then also protect your own schedule by coming up with these solutions. And then as you become an expert in one space, you can just specialize in that no code area. So it creates also freedom for that OBM to really set who they want to be out in the professional world.
Wow, I never thought about that, because what I heard you say as the visionary is, okay, you not only heard that I had these different points of friction that I probably didn't even realize were points of friction for myself. I was just doing them, just like the whole example before of me manually doing stuff. But then you came to me and said, hey, here are the solutions. Here are the top 3 or the 3 things that we're going to go do to make your life easier. Like, what that is to me is you being super proactive and being super what's the other, or listening really, really well and reading between the lines of what I'm saying. So that is a really good example of, I think, how a visionary and integrator would work together. That I thought that was a great example.
And I feel like having these things in your back pocket, though, too, is a way that, I don't know how to say this, but sometimes when you're sitting on that side of the operations and people are coming to you with all of their problems and this doesn't work, and I feel like knowing no code and knowing what's possible out there allows you to find a way to do this, again, that you enjoy working with it, right? So instead of someone saying, hey, I have this database, I need all of this updated, and this is the only way I want to do it, you can still find a way that's still what they see. That's still how they feel like they're working with their day, but you found more efficient ways for you to go about it. And again, you don't have to share every detail as long as the work is getting done.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're so right. So you talked about this a little bit, Leah, but how can an OBM differentiate themselves by using no code?
So it could be within the specific platforms that you really enjoy using. right? So
Oh,
if you
yeah.
want to be someone who is really helping with course content, or if you really want to help with the lead generation, you can take some deep dives into no code platforms that do that. On the other side, though, it does allow, I think, for a lot of flexibility, so that when you're sitting in that interview or you're talking to that person, you have all of these examples of, yes, I've saved them time, yes, we made more money. Because again, it's like when someone has really spent a lot of time on physical fitness and really gotten strong, and to do things now seem much easier, right? So you've built this big bench of experience and work. So when people are coming to you and they think it's going to take hours, I mean, you look like the superhero when you're like, this is going to take me a good week to set up, and then after that, right, these things are going to land in your inbox or whatever that is. It's like strength. I feel like it's like you've taken all your vitamins.
I love that. I really, really love that. And it's tying in something that Dr. Ty Richardson said last week on how to get clients, on how you have to first provide value. And so you could see where you could use some no code solutions to easily provide them value in some way before they even hire you, as a taste of what it would be like to work with you.
Yes. I think you're also giving them, when maybe they want to try out a different angle in their business, right? They have a new product that's coming. Hiring you, you're your own consultant to their business to let them know how effective that's going to be, how much of a drain on their budget something could be. Because a lot of times you're going to come at this with more technical knowledge than the coach or the consultant, right? Unless they're in IT. You're going to be more tech savvy than the person you're working with. And so when you give them that honest answer of like, look, this is how much more efficient we could make this, or what you're asking isn't really realistic, right? Sometimes that's super beneficial too, to say, if you really want to go do this, then here's what you're going to have to invest. And so you're giving them a lot of professional value just in being able to do that.
Wow. Yeah, that's huge, man. That's, yeah. So one thing that I know you can't do, right, is say to a client, I'm an expert in no code, because that's not going to mean anything to them. So how do you highlight to customers, clients, potential customers, that you have these expertise?
I think this goes back to anything that when we talk about, as you're relaying your experience, you want to have the stats, and you want to show the ROI. So by having, as you're doing this, if you've done these projects, even if it's, making your own family's calendar more efficient, you still can show how much time was saved, what was, the impact of rearranging a carpooling schedule, right? You're reducing the cost of gas. Like there's always different ways to look at it. So just like anything, I think you need to know, stating the problem, what was the impact, and then what was that, numbers on that return on investment.
I love that. Yeah. Like if you were to come to me with just like the result, like what was the result, I would be like, oh yeah, totally. That makes sense to me. I don't care how you got there. I really like that. But I also really like how you just said to do the problem step by step. I love it. I love it. So any questions, y'all? We just have a couple more things that we wanted to mention.
What CRM do you like? This one is, so if it's free, because that's the other angle of all this no code stuff, is that there is a whole aspect of what can I get for free out there. So honestly, Julie, I do like HubSpot because it has a free platform that I can go and build. But I also really like using Airtable because I can customize that CRM for anything that I want. So it becomes to what is the troubleshooting part. If someone says to me, I need to track all my conversations and my emails, then I go to something like a HubSpot. You could move on up to something like Salesforce, which is also going to allow for some low code. There's a lot of coding and stuff that can be done to customize that, but that might be more than a person needs. So I move, up that way.
Mm, yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. Um, oh, Amitha, a great point. Really helpful for those who have done such things in a non-professional setting. I love it.
That is one way. I really do think if that is something that is in your mind, or that is, when we get in our own heads about, well, I haven't been out in the professional world, taking some time with these no code things, and you can quickly develop a project to show someone of how you solved a problem, and have that right there as an example of work. Because these no code solutions, you're learning so much when you get in there. And there is just a wealth of information out there, YouTube wise, or what each platform also recommends. So that's another thing I would always tell people to take a look at, is what, like HubSpot has an academy, and it's not just on their tool, it's also on social media and all kinds of things. Canva has a great design academy. So some of these tools will lead you on a path. And when you find that you really enjoy that, you're creating that niche for yourself.
Oh, fantastic. All right, Leah. Well, it looks like no other questions. So my last one for today is, what is one piece of advice about no code that you want to leave everyone with today?
You can't break it, so just try it. If you right now are something in your own life that would, like I said, if you have something that you're like, man, it'd be so much easier if, go and find that solution and explore it. A lot of these things have a free test, 30 days free, whatever. Just go and do it. And as you do it, you're going to find the areas that you really enjoy. And this is a great thing to then enhance your resume. Right. And then I also caution everyone, because I have done this, is you can spend entire weekends just watching videos and what are other people doing, but find your problem. So you're looking for a solution. Don't try and learn everything about that product, because you're going to forget it the next time you go back to it. Solve that problem, learn from the experts in that space, find your group of people that you like to go to. So there's different platforms out there. You might be a GitHub person. There's a lot of different, Airtable has its own community. There's a lot of Facebook communities. Go to those and see if you're finding your solution. I'm always here if anyone wants to reach out to say, hey, have you ever run into this? Here's my problem. Here's what I'm trying to solve. I love to troubleshoot with people, but don't spend hours Googling. Find someone to ask.
Oh, fantastic tip. Fantastic tip. And I again, as a visionary, I just love this conversation, because it really, for me, is like taking a peek behind like the curtain and seeing how the wizard does all of her magic. And why I'm so grateful for Leah and the tag team that we have really created and have then taken and put into Prowess's OBM training is, sure, all these one-off tools are great, right? Like, you could, to Leah's point, you could be a Webflow expert, but how do you take all the no code? How do you take all of the tools, make them work together to create to create a business for someone else, or team up with someone to help them make their business more efficient? And so that's really what we are focusing on and adding more and more to in the OBM training with Prowess project is, okay, sure, understanding of this tool is awesome, but what is that application, right? How do you build the business? So with that, thank you all for being here. Next week, I'm really excited. We have a guest. Her name is Talia Jacqueline. She talks all about intrapreneurship and why that is so important. Again, Dr. Ty briefly touched on it, but as the right-hand woman, as the number two, as the integrator, you need to be thinking as an intrapreneur and thinking about why it's so important to make your client's business go up and to the right and really be successful. So same time next week, Talia will be here. Can't wait. If y'all have any other questions, please let us know. And if you need anything, prowessproject.com.